Okay, so we're back up with the Proffitt training diaries. We're here in Australia now. The last ones were brought to you from Pozo and the same rules apply. It's going to be short, sharp, choppy editing. It's not going to be the best footage because a lot of the sun goes down. I mean, the sun goes down in the evening. That's where we've been doing a lot of filming. So don't expect high quality stuff, but do expect action. We got broken bones, we got blood, we got everything. It's kind of like something out of Pulp Fiction. And speaking of Pulp Fiction, it's going to be a little bit like that. The beginning's going to be at the end and the end at the beginning, because we're going to start off with Coronation, which happened the last couple of weeks. So the first training diaries we're going to do from jumping in Gero, me, Woodsy, Justina, you know, and then a load of the other boys up there, Matt, and not forgetting Dave Williams, Disaster Dave, more on him in a bit. But we do have some quite funny wipeouts for you and a couple of good moves going down. And just to give you a bit of an idea what's been going on over here in Australia over the time we've been here. So let's get straight into it. But like I said, don't expect too much. It's going to be pretty roughly done together. I'm going to stick it together pretty quickly because the forecast for next week in Corries is looking really good. So I'm going to do this one now and then hopefully do another one next week when we get back from Corries with some more action. So hopefully the level has stepped up from this one. Okay, so what have we got? What's been happening? Australia. This year and last year is so different. Last year, come away a little bit disappointed, bit like maybe should have gone to Cape Town. You know, the spot Coronation was one of the spots I'd heard about. It's kind of like my home break at home, Ross Niger, lots of jumping, and it didn't really deliver last year. It was sort of 5-0 weather a lot of the time. This year, like I said, we just come back from 2 weeks and it's been cranking. And you know, after you get a few days in a row, you start to sort of get you get a feel for everything. So after a couple of weeks, you're really getting into it. When I first started these training diaries, the main aim was getting me doing my doubles back, getting back on them and getting pushed forwards. Didn't quite happen in Pozo. A lot to do with a few things, but one of them, Justina, she broke her foot. It sort of puts you off a bit and you realise how easy it is to hurt yourself. But she's back on the water now, helps you get over it and you realise that you can come back from some really bad injuries. And I'm back on it. We're getting the doubles, they're getting there. More on that in a bit, and the push forwards are starting to get there. Another week, like I say, I reckon I'll be on it. So let's start off. Who's been pushing? First guy to start pushing, Matt from Corros. He's originally from Belgium and he's up there. He was, when I first spoke to him, he was sort of like, not really into the sail anymore. He's lacking a bit of like, and I was like, all you've got to do is just got to try something new, push yourself a little bit harder. I was coming out on the 1-1. I went for this push forward and it was a real late effort, don't get me wrong, it wasn't good. It was like I did a push loop on the way down, thought, oh shit, I'll do a forward. I did it right in front of him and I saw him stick his hand there like, yeah man, and that must have given him the, you know, give him the boost he needed, because the next run out flies round, a really nice double, landed, you know, in the water started out and he was buzzing. So he was super chuffed with that, and we were all chuffed because then it sort of pushed the level up a bit. We went around to his house for a few beers that night and it got a bit rowdy, but they was loving it and it's given him a real boost. So he's back out there full power now and he's been landing some good moves. So it's good to see Matt full power back on. Graham Woods, he obviously one of the top British sailors in the past, never really got it together in competition as you would expect for his level, but he's always been there, free sailing, always there. He stepped a bit of time out, his sort of training partner and mate he's grown up with, Adam Lewis, went from strength to strength and he's come on really good in the PWA this year. I think he's ranked in the top 12, I think he's 12th overall. So Adam, and I think that's give Graham the impetus. He's over here now working as a tree surgeon. Quite funny, that Graham Woods tree surgeon, no, okay. Anyway, he's doing that and he's sailing a lot and really enjoying his sailing. So he's stepped it up. He was trying some, some real funny doubles this week, well last week. Getting some nice ones, had some superb bails, like he'd be going up all past, sheeting in, what, after the first one thinking no, letting it go. So he had a couple of them from Gray, and he's got one-footed backies as well, learnt them pretty much in a couple of days. He was doing sort of a few not so good ones, wasn't quite getting it on the way up and then couldn't get the turn, but towards the end of the week, the couple of days we had, he was getting them really nice and landing some superb ones. His doubles, like I said, they were better, started landing some wet ones at the end, but he's had to go back to work, so hopefully we can get him back up to Corros. As I say, forecast looking good. So Woodsy's been really pushing it. Just going to have a look down here. Oh yes, and of course he has the wipeout of the day. Probably the best wipeout I've seen for a long time. He's there going in for this double, sheets in, pulls in. It was not going to be a big one, but just a little nice sort of quick rotation one. And as he starts to take off, he realises he's hooked in. And he's like, oh my God. So let's go. But obviously you let go, you're still hooked in. So halfway around, you see him let go, his body's gone back. His rig pulls him forward and just see him like getting pulled all the way from the kit. So funny. We were checking, you're probably checking it out right now, but I'll give you a full slow-mo on that. So that was pretty funny to watch, but he's definitely pushing at the moment. He's got some good moves. He's sailing on Severn. He was a bit unlucky a bit ago. Snapped his quattro, snapped his board, but that's what happens when you're pushing it. You know you're going to snap things. Not many boards survive it, as Costa's pretty much shown. He gets reinforced boards and he still breaks them. You're landing hard. That's what you're going to do. Big shout out that this man has to have his own. I was going to do an own video diary for Dave Williams. Dave Williams is a living legend. Everyone has heard of him over here. A little bit through sailing, but mostly for the disaster he is causing. Disastrous Dave. He's got a few nicknames. We could call him Dave the Destroyer. I think I'm just going to have a look at the list where he's broke it. 2 extensions, so broke 2 extensions, not much, bit of a boom, you know, everyone's starting to talk about it. Driving up to Coros for that week, last week, rolls his van. I'm not sure if he's playing with his iPod or something, but I'm not sure, but anyway, he ends up one side of the road, recorrects, ends up rolling it into the bush, somehow walks away unscathed. The van right off. Eggs everywhere. I think that was the final one, the smell, they couldn't be asked to fix it, so I think he's ended up getting insurance. Luckily it's all gone through. So Dave destroyed the van on the way up. Woodsy on the way up, give him a lift. So he gets there and he tells us a story. I'm thinking, my God, he's lucky to be still walking. What happened next? Oh yeah, he wants to learn push loops. So we give him a few tips. Within a couple of hours he's landing. Boom, I see him land one, we're like, yeah, Dave, nice one, good work. Next one lands perfectly, really nice, maybe a little bit flat, but still, sails away, and he's like, oh, it didn't look good, I was on the water next to him, I'm like, yeah, sails into the beach, looks at the boy, he goes, Ben, I heard something, you know, like a, I'm like, yeah, he goes, oh, it looks all right then. Woodsy walks over, don't look, massive crack. Board total write-off, so no board. So he's happy for the push loop, but the board's broken, so he's not so happy. Never mind, it's only a board. We go on. So he ends up borrowing a board off Matt. He broke that one too, but don't. He just broke the heel. But anyway, that's nothing. We don't even mention that. So next day, he's broke his board, push loops. What is he going to do? More push loops. He's decided after hearing Costa did 40 doubles a day that he's going to do 50 push loops. So there he is, boom, boom, down, down. Every video we've got, like Dave will be in the corner, you'll be filming someone and you see someone flying around in the corner and it'll be Dave doing another push loop. And he just did push loops the whole day. He didn't actually land that many for some reason, maybe he was trying too hard. He gets to 49, he reckons, I'm pretty sure. He came in having a rest and it's getting a bit cold towards the end of the day, he's sitting there. And I'm in, and we're chatting, I'm going, come on, you can't leave 49, you've got to go and do 50. And he's like, no, I don't feel well. Justine is sitting next to me going, no, definitely don't. That's what I did when I hurt myself. I said I shouldn't go out, and you just end up, your decision making's bad. And I'm like, shut up, you puff, come on, let's go. So I go out, have a bit of a sail around, didn't expect him to come out, ends up coming out. And as I'm sailing into the beach, I get off and I look out, and he's heading out, Woodsy's ahead of him. He does this 360 off this tiny inside wave. It's not even on the main break, just on this tiny inside wave. He does this 360 and drops off the back because there's not enough curl on this wave to keep him on. Dave, next to him, thinks, oh, this will be the 50th push loop I'm going to try. End of the day, tired, takes off this wave with no power. I don't know how, he actually nearly makes it round, but didn't quite make it. Comes down, cracks him right in the nose, and you can see on impact, he just goes, explodes his nose halfway across his face. He comes sailing, I'm like, what are you doing? Then realises he's hurt himself, so try and go easy, but I can't because it was such a crap ramp. And me and Woods are like, what were you doing? And his nose is... We did have footage, but somehow it's got white, but we've got a bit of stuff from when he was at the car with a bit of blood on. You've got to see a bit of blood in the diaries, haven't you? So Dave off to the hospital. Turns out it wasn't a bad break, but still not a great thing. So anyway, that's pretty much how days, weeks going. Next day, nose is a bit sore, decides to take it easy, yeah, do some freestyle. Obviously, that's easy. We're at the van, just trying to get out, trying to get ready. He comes up. I think I broke my hand. I'm like, shut up, laughing, thinking. I look at his hand and it's like shaking like this, and I'm like, oh my God, look down, there's a lump in the middle. How'd you do it? It bent back and it went. I'm like, oh God, that doesn't sound good. Off to the hospital. It's broken. Typically, it's broken. So there he is, he's leaving in 2 weeks, going to New Zealand, then he's going snowboarding, then he's going to Maui, and now he's got a broken hand, you know, half a nose across his face, broken boards everywhere. The guy is a disaster. So luckily, we've wrapped him up in cotton wool this last week, and we've shoved him in Al's house down in Fremantle. We're not letting him out until he's left the country, because he's a liability, that boy. But fair play, he does go for it. He definitely goes for it. And someone else has been going for it this week, obviously, my girlfriend Justina Shinali. She come back from a really bad injury to her foot, 13 screws in there and a plate, and it wasn't looking likely she was going to be doing much sailing here in Australia. It was more a trip just to get her back into it. But if anyone's met Justina, they'll know that that just doesn't happen. So she's been throwing herself around forwards, back loops, going for everything. She's trying to take it easy, she tells me, but there ain't no taking it easy. She's had a few bad landings on it, because obviously you land flat, comes back, swells up, but it doesn't stop her. She keeps going back for more, but she's getting her forward sorted, really good technique. She's still lacking the confidence in her foot to really boost anything high, but it doesn't matter. That's, I mean, 6 months after an injury like that, and you're doing forwards and landing, like coming down back, he's like nose going in, and just not, because she's not got the confident back foot to push it through, it's not quite getting them. But I think as soon as that confidence returns, she's going to be landing nice. So she's getting back up to full strength. Who else? There's some standout riders all over the place. I mean, I should mention Natalie and Chris. I'm sitting on their sofa right now while Chris is off kiting, so that's why I'm doing this. Bad boy. But there isn't much wind down in Perth at the moment, that's why we're down here. So he's gone off kiting, and we've been crashing in their lounge using the air conditioning and getting a bit of a break from the bush. So they've been sailing quite a lot, sailing pretty good. Langy, he's the man. Local bloke from Coronation. Goes up north quite a bit, but he is one of the most stylish riders. He's a big lad, but he's got some style. I haven't got any footage really of him sailing the waves, because he sails a lot up at the spot, which we don't really go up there because our car can't make it. But he just comes in, no-handed 360, just cruising around, looks super stylish, but he's a top bloke. And definitely worth a mention. I'm going to get my list, see what else we've got. We've had a few things. Obviously we have some floaty jumps, that's what we do over here, so a lot of floaty jumps, usually mistimed runs out, you know, you're heading out and you want to do a push forward or something, and you're looking for every bit of ramp, and you're trying to get every bit of speed, and you see the ramp and you want to get it perfect, you just blast through and you're all over the place. So yeah, so actually talking about, let's talk about me again. We had this in the last one, but I have been trying to push the doubles. That's been my thing this year. We haven't really had any jumping for the last couple of weeks, so now I'm into it and I'm getting back right into it. So you've got to put the time in. You've got to take some crashes. So what I've done, I've got the iron ball busters. I have to give them a mention because no one else makes them, but they protect your nuts and they protect your bits from landing quite heavy. So they're the first thing on when I thought I'd go sailing, and I actually borrowed Justina's Mystic sort of impact vest, full life jacket, whatever. I remember the last one I said about in the Pozo Diary, as soon as I put it on I felt like a total lemon. Well, this one actually seems pretty good. I don't really notice it's on, and it has saved me coughing up with a bit of blood. That's usually my thing. I land on my back and but I don't know what it does, but I end up having a bit of blood on the lungs. So I haven't had that, I've only had it once, and that was a hell of a push forward landing. So anyway, I've been putting myself together like that before I went out and really been getting into the doubles. The first couple, landing a bit wet, the rotation after watching the video looked really good. So then I've really been concentrating on getting a little bit more height and getting that whip on the second one. And I have to say, it's definitely got better. They're not amazing yet, but I'm pretty happy. They're landing with a sail out the water. Next stage, bolt upright. That's what we're going for. So I'm keen now to get back up to Joe for this next forecast and really push them to see if I can start landing them properly. Fingers crossed I don't injure myself. The next on the agenda for me was push forwards. I've done them a fair few years ago, really pushed it, but you do need the conditions, you need the wind or you need the good ramps to do these, so you don't really get it that often. And we had it the other day in Corro's 3.7, we're about to actually borrow Justina's 3.7. And I was getting a few. There was a couple off camera I didn't get, but the ones on camera, there's one, it's wet, don't get me wrong, it's not the best landing, but I sail away, I get the rotation as I go up, I'm getting the feel, what you do at the top and how you position yourself. Like I said, nothing special yet, but I have a feeling by the end of this week, I'm putting a bit of pressure on myself here, but I will be getting some nice ones. So if we get some conditions, I'll try and give in the next diary some proper push forwards. Let's hope anyway. So yeah, that's pretty much been it. I'm going to, like I said, this is Corro's, this happened last week. I'm going to try and do a bit of a review of the other sort of diaries we've had and the places we've been and what's been happening since we've been here. But it is going to be that Pulp Fiction thing where the ends, the beginnings at the end, the ends at the beginning and all that sort of stuff is going to be a bit mixed up. But it shouldn't matter, just give you an idea of what's going on in Western Oz. You don't hear much about it anymore, to be honest, which is a shame because it is a top place to go sailing. And when it's on, it really is on, and there's a lot of guys over here that can sail really good. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We've got to end. We can't end without doing another rerun of Gray's Wipeout, that classic hooked in double attempt when he bails. Now that's a good one. I was going to mention my hooked in one, but I did a hooked in push loop, and as I went up, I sort of hooked in. I thought, oh my god, it's going to go wrong. I ended up landing it perfect. So Gray, come on, hooked in doubles. Vidar used to do them one-handed. That's on the agenda. So it's Saturday now. The wind's forecast to get back in Corro's on Tuesday, probably by the time I end up getting this video diary together, but let's see what happens. Stay tuned for more Proffitt diaries. They hopefully will get better. I'm a bit out of practice at the moment, but stay tuned.